Even labels here. We're very progressive.
Okay, hello. We are back here in the Actors Garage, Vaughan. And that was our sponsor, Eau de Pêche. It works. Thank you for that. And the product is available if you go to thisisrealtv.com. Quantity while quantities last. Of course, we have a beautiful next guest right here beside me, Cynthia Stone. And she is the relationship guru. She's written many books. She's done wonderful things. She is an actor. She is a voiceover actor. She is a comedian. She is a speaker. She is everything. And you know what? She looks amazing as well, which is a bonus. She has a great spirit. We are very excited to have her on our show. And I'm going to let Cynthia tell us a little bit more about herself while I listen.
Well, that was a great intro. Thank you for that.
All right, you're welcome.
All right, and that's why he has 2 ears and 1 mouth, so we can listen twice as much as he speaks. It's amazing. Thank you for that skinny with It's Here, Vinny.
Thanks.
Yeah, what can I say that he hasn't already said? I am insightful and delightful, but you'll see that for yourself. What else? What did you miss?
How many books did you write, Cynthia?
2 international bestsellers.
Wow.
Yeah,
amazing.
And I'm working on my 3rd right now. So the first 2 were compilations, and the 3rd one is actually my own. I'm birthing my book. It's very exciting.
Awesome. Can't wait for that.
Yes.
What inspired you to start writing, Cynthia?
Well, I found that I had people that were telling me that I had this message and I should really put, the pen to paper. And so the reality becomes the rhetoric, and so I'm just putting it to paper, having it come out there and inspiring the masses. I mean, that's definitely something I'm all about. And I've always written. I've been a writer all my life. It was usually the diaries. So now I've kind of shifted gears, but shift happens.
It does. Good shifts, of course.
Absolutely.
And you're an actor.
I am.
Actor.
How do you know I'm not acting now?
That's true. I don't know. That means you're a good actor. Awesome. So, Cynthia, the reason why you're here today, that's just a short, very, very short intro. Cynthia has a lot of talents, and she is just a ball of energy. And I love working with her. I love being friends with her because she's taught me a lot as well. We have worked together in the past, and we're going to be continuing to work together now and in the future. And but today, I'm super excited because she is also a relationship expert, a relationship guru with Cynthia. And actually she's helped people all over, help them in the relationship problems and obstacles. I don't like to say problems, obstacles, because everything can be fixed. The only thing that can't be fixed is, or you can't get away from, is taxes and death. So Cynthia's helped many, many people. She's helped me. I've had wonderful talks with her. So thank you for that, of course. But today I'm going to drill her with some relationship questions. And then we're going to open up the phone lines, because the Actors Garage does have a phone line, and our producer is going to be spinning them back at us that Cynthia and maybe even myself might answer. Who knows? So right now, Cynthia, I want to talk to you and dabble a little bit in your mind of what's happening now. So, Cynthia, talk to us about some ways that people could stop being afraid to maybe start opening up and talking to people, and maybe social distancing coffee, and maybe social distancing walks in this pandemic, because everybody's so super afraid to go out. And I know we are still going to practice safe distancing. But I mean, if you're 6-7 feet apart having a stroll, I don't think there's anything wrong with that. What do you think? What are some people, what could they do? I'm going to stop talking. Let me answer the question.
Oh, no, I love it. Absolutely. No, I would definitely agree with you. It's not so much about social distancing as it is about physical distancing. So I think you really did nail it there. In times of, catastrophe and times of trauma, it really does help to have that unity within your community, to not be facing it alone. So a lot of us, when they say the root of all people's suffering is being in a room by yourself.
Right.
And so if you can't tolerate your own company, chances are that anybody who's around you doesn't want to be inflicted by you either. So you really, first of all, need to address the self. The root of all man's suffering lies in not being able to be in a room by themselves. So as you address your own presence, you can then in turn be transformed and be able to be of service to the community. But it first starts within. So even though we can't go outside, that doesn't mean we can't go inside. And so it's all about coming to terms with oneself. As we're able to heal ourselves, we can then be a source of blessing for others. And so it's really important that as you heal yourself, you are then able to be there for another person. And a lot of people have been reaching out to me feeling very depressed. A great source of alleviating your depression is to be of service to others. So I totally agree with you in being of service, going out, helping your community. One of the things I've taken to doing is I'm a part of the Basket Brigade's Tony Robbins. A lot of you know him as this huge guy, literally.
Yeah, it's a big boy.
Yeah, exactly. But he wasn't always so big. And in fact, he had very humble beginnings. He actually started off struggling, was hungry. His father had a very big ego and wasn't very accepting of help. And one day, there was a knock on the door, and it was Thanksgiving, and a man was there with a basket of food.
Wow.
And the father closed the door in his face and basically would not have it. But what struck Tony wasn't about the fact that his father shut the door. It was the fact that a man showed up, a total stranger, with this kindness. And that kindness had ripple effects, because now he's taken that message to globally. And he has started the Basket Brigade Foundation, which feeds people every holiday. But what's happened now with COVID is that it's become a weekly occurrence. And so that's really beautiful. So something you can do, even if it's not, distributing food, but even a kind word, giving someone a smile if they don't have one of their own, it's absolutely something that you can do. It's the little things that will help to lift up your spirits and really get you past a lot of the pain that you're feeling. So the best thing to do when you're feeling inundated with your own suffering is to help someone else out of theirs, and that can help to alleviate you, because really we are all from love, and we can all help and heal each other through love.
That's amazing. So people should start to open up a little bit and trust.
Go for a coffee and
go for a
like it a latte.
Yes, exactly. So it's not social distancing.
No, it's not. It's physical distancing. But it's not social distancing, because we still need each other.
There's a lot of people that I've been speaking to during this pandemic time, and it's amazing on how it takes an event like this to make you realize certain things. Because now a lot of people are stuck in a house with their partners, as to they never spent all those hours with them. And a lot of people take it as they're light, they take it lightly as it's okay, we're complaining, but honestly, it makes you get to really know someone when you're in their face 8, 9, 10 hours a day. And there's a lot of people that are like, oh my God, after all these years, I never really knew that. Oh my God, you're actually a pain in the butt. I can't. I was good to only seeing you mornings and nights.
Yeah.
And a lot of friends and people that I know are having a lot of problems. They're like, oh my goodness, I don't want to be with this person. It's crazy. After so many years, you start realizing, and instead of it being the opposite, saying, oh my God, I get to spend the day with Cynthia. This is amazing. Actually, it's better. I want to spend more time with her. It's like, oh no, go to work, please. I was good, which is bad, because that's already an early sign. So talk a little bit about that. Is that early signs of you really realizing and being honest with yourselves in the relationship?
I would say, this has been an absolute blessing, and also an eye-opener for a lot of couples. I mean, what happens is a lot of us, it's either aversion or addiction. As I had mentioned, we're either running from something or running to something. And a lot of times what's happened in our marriages, for example, is like your two ships passing in the night. You see them once in a while. Oh yeah, we've been married for 30 years, but we've only seen each other 3, like, really, I mean, yeah.
Absolutely.
And so it's really that coming together. And so I think that it all depends on your paradigm. So if you're coming at it from my wedding ring has become my suffering, that's one thing. I know that marriage is an institution and love is blind, but are you in an institution for the blind? I mean, I think that we really got to look at the fact that we chose this person for a reason, and that every encounter is a holy encounter. I truly believe that.
Right.
And so often what happens in marriages, and we don't realize it, it's like an infirmary for your soul. And what I mean by that is that whatever you are repressing inside is going to come out. You're going to be around your partner, and they're going to push your buttons, and you're going to be like, oh, You know, and it really irritates you because that's a part of you that you don't want to face. And then they're there in your face and they're bringing it up and you're just like, stop it, stop it, stop it. But you know what? Rather than look at them as, you know, you are the pain in the butt, rather ask yourself, why is this coming up for me? Like, what am I doing? Like, how is this? This is the person that I've chosen. This is, they're coming at this from an angle. And so often we kind of run with our emotions. You know, the anger comes up and we're like, I am angry. Well, you're not angry. You are but the vessel that the anger is coming to. You are a pure consciousness, but you're choosing the anger to coincide with. So it's really about recognizing, first of all, that you are not your emotions. And second of all, what are these emotions trying to teach me? What is this, you know, moment in time trying to teach me? Because a lot of things are happening now where we keep getting triggered. And those triggers are actually signs that that is pain that we have not resolved. And as we resolve that pain, it will be transmuted. We will be able to transform our trauma. And thereby, when they start coming at us, we'll have dealt with that. We'll have healed that. And we'll be like, okay, they are not there to bother you. They are there to teach you. So if you start changing your perspective to look at them as teachers, that this is an infirmary for my soul, that I can actually heal from this, that I can grow from this, that there is a grow with the flow. We often say go with the flow, but I say grow with the flow.
That's right.
What doesn't kill us makes us stronger. We can gain wisdom from these things, and we can derive a blessing from this lesson. Timely. So it's all about self-worth and rebirth. In an airplane, if you are crashing down, they always tell you, put on your mask first. You know, so often we try to save other people. So often we try to be there for other people. We're always so concerned about everyone else around us that we forget about the self. Well, if we are pouring from an empty cup, we're not taking care of ourselves, then we start to resent them. We start to hate them. We start to hate our lives. We start to hate our wives, all of these things. It really comes down to honoring our truth, to align with our divine, to silence our mind. And when you're in those times alone, and I know people don't like to be alone. Why is solitary confinement the worst form of punishment? It's because in those times that we're alone, we're hearing those messages, what we need to do. We may not like it, but that doesn't mean that we shouldn't do it. And I can speak from experience because I was in that situation. I was in that marriage where I was absolutely miserable and I ended up leaving it. And I was like, honestly, it was the best thing I could have done, because if I was suffering that much, chances are he was suffering that much. And I wish him all the very best. I am now flying free. I am so much happier. I do not have this dead weight of feeling like I have to do what other people tell me to. Why do we take this time and we take advice on how to be rich from broke mindsets? It's really about recognizing who we allow into our head office. Okay, this 6 inches between your ears, that's prime real estate. And you know what?
Absolutely.
So often we give away our power and we start listening to people, but are they really the experts on happiness? Are they really the experts on living joyously with their lives and their wives? No, most of these people are miserable, telling you how to be miserable with them. So really it comes down to caring for yourself and honoring your truth and recognizing you have divine wisdom. You don't need to listen to somebody else. It's about starting to listen to yourself, because so often we hand over our power, we hand over our car keys, and we end up driving to someone else's dream. And that's not going to serve us. You're right. I mean, it comes down to like 95% of people are going to disapprove of you anyways, and try to pay your bills with their opinions. See how far you get with that.
I think we're running out of time.
Are we? Okay.
I would love to speak to you for another week. I'm sure all our other listeners and fans out there. I think we have time for just a few questions.
All right.
From our producer. Do we have any calls coming in? I'm sure we do. I see the light blinking.
Hi, yeah, we do.
Just a few there.
Yeah,
so
we
we'll
have.
We
have some calls. We do.
All right.
We have someone here
on the phone with Dr. Stone. I love it.
We have a call here. It's actually a local call.
Oh.
Somebody from Vaughan.
Oh, wow. Awesome.
That's exciting. A local person tuning in for the first time, hopefully tuning in again.
Yeah. What's the caller's name?
The caller's name is Jennifer.
Oh, Jennifer. Wow. Thank you, Jennifer.
Now, Jennifer has a question to do with relationships, sort of along the lines of what you guys were talking about, what Vince said about, do you stay in an unhappy relationship? And at what point do you recognize, hang on, let me make sure I'm reading it correctly.
Yes, please.
She's saying, at what point do you recognize when it's time to call it quits, essentially, is what she's saying. Like, how hard, like, at what point do you say, I've tried enough? is what it seems like she wants to know. So if you can maybe answer that for us, Cynthia, maybe tell us when does a person phone it in? When does a person raise the white flag and give it up?
That's a great question. Thank you.
Absolutely.
All right, go
yes,
ahead.
Thank you, Jennifer.
Floor is yours.
All right. Awesome. Well, I can speak from my own experience. I ended up at a 10-day silent meditation. And within the third day, they say that that's when most people will call it quits. They will either stay there and face themselves or they will leave. And I ended up staying and facing myself. And that inner voice inside of me that was talking quite softly started yelling at me. And that was my sign. That was literally my wake-up call, because I can't deny that. Like there is a part of you that knows, and nobody can tell you when that is. You know your breaking point. You know when you're just like, I cannot do this anymore. I felt as though I was dying. I had to save my own life. And so the married should not equal buried. Don't die within your marriage. It's not worth it. It's about choosing life. It's about choosing happiness. It's about choosing you. And you know what? So often we sacrifice ourselves and we end up dying. Like, even though we might live to 100, we died at 40, you know?
Right.
So it's really about choosing life and choosing what serves you. So I can't give you a clear, defined answer. That has to come from within. But all I ask is that you do find that alone time. You do find those moments where your soul is speaking, and you honor that, because truly it shouldn't come down to the point where there is a complete disconnect, where you can't even be in the same room as a person, where you are being drowned. Really pay attention to your energy. Because a lot of people that are raising your spirits will fill you with energy and you'll feel amazing. And then there are other people that will suck you dry. And if you're being sucked dry and you're having that energy vampire effect, then it might be time. If you find that you are not being heard, you're not being able to be yourself, you're in shackles, then obviously not. You need to be free to be. Love is not about possession. I read this quote from Osho where he talked about love being like a flower. If you love a flower, you don't pluck it, because when you pluck it and attempt to possess it, it dies. It's about cultivating it and appreciating exactly where it is. So when you love somebody, you should be able to go and come as you please and just recognize that they are free to be just as you're free to be.
Absolutely.
It's not about possession. It's not about ownership. It's just about appreciating who they are, respecting their dreams, respecting their vision, and allowing them to be.
But I want to take one more caller because I think it's relevant to what you guys were talking about. What about this person, Rita, is saying, what about when kids are involved? And it's not as easy in that circumstance. So do you think people stay just for the sake of the children? Do you think that maybe they stay to a certain time and when the kids get old enough, you split up? Basically, what do you think the approach when children are involved? Which changes things, obviously.
Absolutely. It definitely does change things. And I'm glad that was brought up, because that is obviously a source of contention for a lot of couples. What do we do now? You know, they're so young. And obviously there is a point where you are responsible for these lives. You know, you brought them into this life, and without you, they would perish. So it's truly about, you know, recognizing that we need to honor our commitments. We need to honor our obligations. And so sometimes that does mean that we need to just bide our time and deal with the emotions and start taking other ways of self-care. That maybe you're not going to find the compassion, the compatibility in this relationship anymore. And that's where the self-love really comes in, and nurturing yourself. But obviously, if there are dependents involved, it cannot be a selfish act. These are children whose lives are at stake. So you do need to honor your commitments. And I would say that absolutely just ride the waves and try to make it as peaceful a home life as you possibly can. Just know when you see the signs of the storm brewing and just take care. Self-care, find yourself a mentor or a coach, somebody you can talk to talk you through this time. And then when they're old enough, should it still be that situation, try to make it work. But most of all, honor yourself and really show that to your children. Be the example.
Awesome. Okay, Cynthia, I'm going to be devil's advocate here.
Yeah.
So what if that's amazing. So that answer was like awesome. But you're honoring the responsibility that you took to bring life into this world. However, That's all cool. But let's say that you are not happy and you're not there 100% for your kids. Like you say to yourself, okay, you know what? I'm not on good terms with my partner, but because of the kids, and I don't want them to suffer because of the, you know, arranged days that we have with each other, and it's going to be a mess. It's going to be hard for them, especially when they're young. But what if you are not present? So every time your kids are talking to you, it's like, hey, dad, hey, mom, where are you? You're in another planet and you're not there. See, is that I don't think that's healthy as well, as opposed to maybe you don't see your kids every day and you see them only 2-3 days a week, but those 2-3 days a week, you are engaged with them. You're the happiest. They see, oh my God, that's amazing. We did this. Mom's amazing. We did this, as opposed to just living together for, you know, for the next 10-15 years until they get to a certain age that they can make decisions on their own. But those 7 days are not exactly like you all are on different pages. So that's not good as either.
Absolutely.
So what do you do?
You're and that's
Sorry to
so
put the pressure
no,
on
no,
you.
that's
But I
so
feel you can
important
handle the
because
pressure,
I
'cause
can
you're
totally
amazing.
handle the pressure. Yeah. I'm like a pressure cooker
awesome.
right now. Honestly, what I described was the best case scenario. And if you can make it work, amazing. I mean, that is truly the ideal because when it comes to innocent lives, you know, when you bring them into this world, if you weren't there, they would perish. They wouldn't be able to be fed.
Right.
They're totally dependent on you. But there comes a situation in time where, like you said, like sometimes I've coached, for example, and counseled abused women, and their lives are at stake. And what do you do? So you're going to sit there in an abusive situation and
Absolutely
potentially perish. And then what? So now the kids are growing up without a mom anyways, or vice versa.
Right.
So I don't think that there is a clear defined answer. That was the best utopian belief.
Gotcha.
But if there is a situation where you were so miserable, and it doesn't have to be physical abuse, it can be mental abuse, it can be sexual abuse,
Absolutely.
it can be so many. If it is to the point where you absolutely cannot go on, like if I had been in my marriage state, if I had had kids at that state when I was in my Vipassana meditation, I could honestly say I would have to look at still leaving and being there part-time for my kids.
Right.
And it wasn't that it was so bad where I was like, oh my gosh, you know, but sometimes we have to choose ourselves. It comes down to that is the most important lesson we can teach our kids is that choose yourself. Love yourself first. First, love yourself. First, fly. First, love yourself. Because really, everything is dependent on self-love. If you can love yourself, you are going to walk into a relationship and expect the best because you're going to be your best.
Right.
You are going to be able to walk into a career and ask for the amount that you deserve. You are going to be able to do and attract the right opportunities because you're in a better state of yourself. And there's no ideal situation. Some marriages are unresolvable, and that is okay. It's about being the best person you can be and being the best parent you can be. So don't consider it. I think actually, you know, I will go back to my answer because I have actually looking at this differently now. Why should we place marriage contract, like it becomes like a business where you are there and you are saying your vows, and now the contract, the contractual obligation is actually more important than your life. Why is that? Why is honoring your obligation more important than your life, than your happiness, than your love? You can still be an amazing parent by breaking that contract and walking away.
Right.
I think it's truly about honoring your commitment, still being the best parent you can be,
Of course.
still being the best person you can be, but just doing right by you. First, love yourself. That is my answer. Thank you for making me think about
love
that.
it.
Yeah.
We have here on Actors Garage.
Yeah, I'll take it off from here because I'm sure Cynthia has a lot to offer and a lot to talk about. But I'm going to sum it up with just saying, if you have any further questions or you would like to go more into detail with any relationship obstacles that you have, you could definitely reach Cynthia at cynthia360.com. Reach out to her. She's a beautiful, fabulous person with a lot of knowledge. She has a great spirit, and she cares. That's the bottom line here. She cares, and she can help you. So if you guys want to know more about what to do, and just reach out, you can go to cynthia360.com. Is that correct?
That's correct. Absolutely.
And as for the Actors Garage and myself, I'm going to take you to our next segment on No Sport, No Fun with Luca Moya and Andrea Nisi. So stay tuned for that. Cynthia, it was a pleasure to have you here at the Actors Garage, Vaughan. We're going to be seeing more of you. And actually, stay tuned, guys, because we are working on a film with Cynthia coming out in the future. We are. She doesn't know about it. Today was really an audition for her. She just didn't know. So you guys comment and see if she passed. I think she did. So look out for that. A lot of great things happening. Once again, thank you to all our sponsors. No Sports, No Fun coming up with Luca and Andrea.